Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar, Rethinking the Holidays, in partnership with Christmasworld. My name is Sarah Havranek. I'm the marketing manager here at Fashion Snoops. I see some of you are still logging on, so before we dive in, I'll just go through a few logistic details for Zoom in case some of you are unfamiliar with the platform. We do hope that you will use the chat and Q&A box to interact with us as well as your fellow attendees. In your chat box, you can set your chat to all panelists and attendees, and everyone here, as well as everyone attending, can see your messages. We love seeing all of the hellos from across the world, so thank you all for joining us. We know that for some of you it's late, for some of you it's lunchtime, so thank you for making time to be with us today. We also encourage you to use the Q&A box. If you have any questions throughout the webinar, our team will do our best to answer them either right in the Q&A box or live at the end of the webinar if time allows. Joining me today from the FS team are Jay Anna Mize, Creative Director and VP of our Home and Interiors Department, and Amanda Farr, one of our Home and Interiors editors. We are also joined by a wonderful panel of experts from the festive decor industry. I would love if you could all introduce yourselves. So Julia, if you would like to go first.
Hello to everyone. My name is Julia Uherek and I'm Group Show Director from Master Frankfurt. And I'm in charge of consumer good fairs like Christmasworld, Creative World, and Paper World. And I'm happy to be here today. Thanks for Fashion Snoops for this great idea on this topic.
Thank you, Julia. It's great to have you. Helmut, would you like to unmute yourself and introduce yourself? Oh, I think you might still be muted here. Let me see if I can unmute you.
Do you hear me?
There we go. Perfect.
Perfect. So, hello again. I'm Helmut Schmidt from Germany. I'm the head of the Weihnachtsland company. We're 100 years in the Christmas, and we have three brands. One is Kreisborn, which is a high glass, handmade and hand decorated glass. We have Oberfränkische, which is 50-year-old, is same quality, made in Europe. And we have Sereno, our third brand, which is a very complex for young people, funny things made in China from, of course, American artists. So that's for short.
Great, thank you. Mart, would you like to unmute yourself and say hello?
Hello, can you hear me? Yes. I'm Mart Haber from Estonia, and I'm one of the founders and managers of Shishi. This is a brand we created 22 years ago for Christmas, and we've been to Christmasworld past 10 years exhibiting there.
Amazing, thank you. And finally, Pascal.
Hello, I'm Pascal Kuhleman, one of the owners of 2Design, working for 23 years now on the Christmasworld, and for the last 10 years we do the big festival presentations in the Galleria, where we really show what is all possible with all the materials you can find on the Frankfurter Messe ground. It's not only 100% Christmas, but it is also part of Creative World and Paper World inside, to give all the visitors inspirations and to make this inspiration to business. And this is in the end what we are doing. And we also are very big in fresh flowers and in dried flowers and in artificial flowers. And our main part is actually to do the marketing for all these kind of products.
Beautiful, thank you all. We look forward to hearing your insights during today's presentation. Jay, can you share a little bit about how this partnership with Christmasworld came to be?
Yeah, hi. So this is, we work a lot with a lot of different retailers and brands on studying all of the seasons and do lots of seasonal capsule reports that are 18 months out in advance. And when this pandemic really hit, that was one of the first questions that the majority of our retailers came to us asking was, how are we going to be thinking about these holidays if people can't physically be together? And it really spawned a lot of questions and a lot of consumer behavior development on our end, really looking into this to answer those questions. So as we started developing these reports for our Thrive program, which we'll talk about in a little bit, it was really important to connect with Christmasworld. I've been going there for about 10 years myself, and it just felt like a natural fit. And then Julia, the Christmasworld team, was like, we should get a lot of our favorites in to actually have great discussions about this as well. So it's really how it came together.
Great, thank you, Jay. That's a great segue. Jake shared a little bit about what we do at Fashion Snoops, but I know we have a lot of newcomers today. So I just wanted to share a little bit of information about Fashion Snoops in case you are unfamiliar with what we do. So we are a global creative agency with 20 years of successful trend forecasting experience. We help leading consumer-facing brands unlock innovation and propel growth by using a combination of artificial and human intelligence to surface trend-driven business opportunities. The FS Trend platform is your one-stop shop for finding inspiration and insight, creating dynamic presentations, collaborating with your team, and presenting your work. At FS, we cover everything from the big picture macro cultural shifts like global pandemics, all the way down to the nitty-gritty, closer to season details. And we do this for all of our markets, which include home, women's, men's, beauty, activewear, youth, kids, accessories, intimates, swim, and lounge. So you'll hear some more information about some of our reports and what we do at Fashion Snoops throughout the webinar. If you would like more information, you can always email us at info@fashionsnoops.com or visit our website or visit us on social, which our handle is below. It's just @Fashion Snoops. And with that, I'd like to pass it over to Julia, who will share a little bit about Christmasworld.
Thank you, Sarah. So yeah, I'm happy to be here with you all, and want to mention out something we were thinking and discussing and living in the last weeks and months. Sarah, next chart, please. So Corona just turned the world on its head, and when I'm looking back to our last Christmasworld edition in January, the world looked very different. Since the end of January, the days have been accompanied by the latest news of the worldwide Corona pandemic, and all of a sudden, the world stood still. And thanks to the lockdowns, at least here in Europe, and at the same time, everything changed hourly. It was impossible to plan anything, especially business-wise. And I won't go into detail about the negative effects, but instead I want to look at the positive Corona effects and the new opportunities it offers, and look ahead. Next chart, please. So what are the lessons from Corona for us as a trade fair, for manufacturers, and especially for retailers? There are a lot of questions we can focus on. So what have we focused in the last weeks and months strongly on? Which experiments in our businesses led to success? Which will be relevant in the future? But on the other hand, what have we missed? What will be continue to be important and necessary in the future? And all those questions raising offers new solutions also to our clients, our exhibitors, our visitors, not just on our physical events like Christmasworld in January, but also online on our digital platforms as Consume Solutions and Next Trade. So the positive effects that are arising from the crisis are that we are noticing a sense of solidarity and responsibility, more creativity in private and also in business life, also a digitization push, especially in the businesses, And what we've seen also here in Europe, especially in the bigger cities, a trend to buy local than online or global. And there is something we missed most. I think this is personal exchanges in private and of course in business life. So such contacts may be digitally bridgeable, but they cannot be replaced. Next 2 charts, please. So as we would have known it already in January during Christmasworld, what came afterwards, our Christmasworld trend forecast focused on exact this. We called it Family Matters. With Family Matters, the family can be freely selected. It is all about personal interaction with friends, family, other communities. And this interaction cannot be replaced online. That is what we've learned from that crisis. It makes it all more enjoyable when we can at last meet up again and celebrate accordingly. And I have good news for you. No matter what happens, Christmas will take place and certainly provide a traditional place of retreat. So when we think about keywords like cocooning, back to basic, that is what we think will happen during Christmas this year and maybe the next years. Next 2 charts, Sarah. Next one. So another trend we already seen on Christmasworld in January and started last year was sustainability, which continues to play an important role also in the future, we think. The Corona crisis seems to have triggered an even more conscious way of life. And also the new everyday life has brought it with greater digitization. It also created more space for everything emotional and tangible. We are celebrating nature. We saw that on Christmasworld in January. And this retreat into the private sphere, sustainability, recycling, upcycling are topics, are themes that will play a major role in the future. And I guess also in Christmasworld next edition. So before I head back, just to give you a short exclusive preview, because we already worked on the Christmasworld Trends 2021-2022, which will be under the motto Together. And it's focused on sustainability and community. And there are 3 different trend statements in that. The first is called Contemplative Approach, and it focuses on nature and is original, tactile, and unpretentious. The second trend reflects on poetry and gracefulness, and it's not nostalgic, young, and playful. And therefore, the trend is called Heirloom Feelings. And the third one is inspired by sustainable solution. It's original, creative, unconventional, and it's called Spirited Response. So this is a short outlook on Christmasworld 2021, and I'm very happy that we will work on that show in January next year, and crossing fingers to all that we can meet there in person, which would be really, a great deal. So I would like to hand over to Sarah and Jay again. Thank you so much, and enjoy the panel now.
Thank you so much, Julia. We couldn't agree more with everything that you said. We agree. We've been tracking a lot of these trends for a while now, and it's interesting to see them finally come to fruition on a global mass scale. So with that, I think we can get into the webinar, and I'll hand it over to Jay to lead the way.
Awesome. Hi, guys. I'm Jay. So like we were talking earlier, COVID-19 has really transformed consumer priorities, and it's affected what people want and how they're consuming. They're really no longer interested in just the aesthetic alone. Success will really lie in rethinking these current values and how they shift product curation going forward. So at FS, we look at culture to validate consumer behavior, and how we do that is we actually track it via like AI. And so it tracks hundreds and hundreds of sites, and we're able to really be able to create predict product development from that. We create 2-year forecasts called visionary, 1-year forecasts, which are forecasting. And then from there, we actually then landed all the way down into seasonal capsules for Christmas. And so as a result, we created our Rethinking the Holiday report to establish new consumer priorities and problem-solving solutions across all markets. Go to the next slide. So we're going to be looking at 3 different pillars. This is 3 of the 7, and they're different consumer sentiments that we found were the most prevalent for the upcoming holiday season. You know, we're really feeling that a lot of people are wanting to know how this is going to affect the holidays and how they're able to, you know, still feel like a community. So these pillars really speak to that, and the way that we'll formulate this webinar is that we'll talk about each pillar, and then we'll answer some questions, and then we'll go to the next pillar. So you want to go to the first one? So we're looking at how traditions, the first one's called new traditions, and we're really looking at how traditions have been affected due to this pandemic. So from Ramadan to Easter, we were really seeing that consumers were faced with these new realities in terms of tradition. It opened a lot of doors for new ways to do things, but it also shed us from these overt structures and conformities that we all kind of had. So early on, we saw the need for human connection span through the globe, from Italian sing-alongs to window signs to socially distant birthday card parades. Community togetherness has been the upbeat undertone through this pandemic. And the existence of community building, it's not overshadowing any of the sorrow and anxiety people are experiencing right now. But perhaps after weeks and even months of sheltering at home and isolation, the local surroundings and people coming together in new ways is providing that glimmer of relief. However, we are now facing a new normal as we physically can't be with our loved ones or having to stay 6 feet apart. I know everybody's really kind of concerned about being around their grandparents or even their parents. So with this isolation, we're more consciously aware of our actions, what's causing stress for us personally, what makes us happy personally. All in the pandemic has made us slow down and reevaluate after having time apart. So with a priority focused on community and well-being, consumers are learning to adapt and reprioritize tradition.
Hey guys, I'm Amanda, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about how we're seeing new traditions evolve across the consumer landscape. So within this pillar, we're seeing a few different examples of this. One of them is candid experiences. So parents here are going to be adjusting their holidays to focus a lot more on activities versus just the notion of giving gifts. This year, a lot of people are likely going to forego the traditional taking pictures with Santa experience. So parents are going to be feeling that pressure, that need, that desire to really create an equally special environment for their families, despite having a lack of the same kind of things that they would normally do. So there's many ways that this could end up looking. One of them is focusing more on games, activities, or kitchen-focused interactions. We're seeing kitchen take over this year, but we also saw all of those things take precedent early in the spring, especially with Easter as one of the first holidays to be affected by the pandemic. A lot of parents took that initiative and created these imaginative games and activities for their kids with whatever they had around versus compensating with social interactions or just the normalcy that they couldn't have anymore. Another way that you could express this is just by slowing down and refocusing on involving the entire family in those regular traditional activities like decorating the Christmas tree, picking out the ornaments, just really actually creating those new traditions with family that maybe are a little more unconventional but can equally be special. We're also looking at, of course, celebrating together, but still apart. So with the holidays being the ultimate time to give thanks, communities will be finding new ways to come together this year, of course, from a safe distance. So one major way that this is going to be showing up is with front lawns becoming the new ultimate decorating space. Since the pandemic started, we've seen a wave of individuals who have put out their holiday decorations early. Maybe they never took them down in the first place. We've seen lots of lawn inflatables go up just to really spread some much needed cheer in local neighborhoods in an otherwise ominous time. So we're going to really see that trend continue. It's going to probably hit full throttle once the holiday season does come, with a mass focus on outdoor decorating this year, because that's really where, you know, the emphasis is. That's where you can have that sense of community safely versus being able to host parties in person. And then, of course, we're looking at virtual gatherings. So it's no secret that over the past 4 to 5 months, a lot of our special moments have taken place through a screen. And while for the holiday, these precious moments are going to feel a little bit different over virtual platforms like Zoom. But what brands can do is adhere to helping families make the most of these online gatherings by offering celebratory virtual backgrounds, facilitating virtual experiences, which we've seen a lot of companies do lately, and then providing party supplies that are catering specifically to virtual events. So that could be, for example, putting an emphasis on tabletop decorations, or creating decorations that help frame the video calls that you're having and make those socially distant dinner parties a little bit more special. So all of what I just mentioned really culminates with the idea of putting a greater focus on family time. And during the chaotic holiday months, as always, it's important to slow down and make time for things that matter the most. And this year, especially, that is family time and being with loved ones. And hopefully that you can do that from a safe distance, or you can be there in person if you're so lucky. We're especially seeing, for those who can be there in person with their loved ones, a trend towards focusing away from technology when they're able to be present. Early on, there was this mass acceptance of more analog activities like puzzles and games, and consumers will really be focusing on those cheerful activities that really foster more of an intimate family setting and are well suited for those gatherings.
Awesome. Thanks, Amanda. So, you know, looking at and really, you know, talking to you guys about how you feel new traditions will affect, you know, especially the holiday season, Christmas, et cetera, going forward. Helmut, I'd love to start question with you. You know, until there's a vaccine, many are hesitant to travel and be in group settings. They're really opting for these virtual meetups. How do you expect virtual gatherings to impact the holiday season?
Me?
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Hey.
Okay. No, yeah, I'm absolutely in what most of you already told. Due to my more than 30 years of experience, this will be very special, as all the Christmases which had been before in crisis, economic crisis or other crisis. So all the families stuck together, and this year will be, we will see two phenomena. We have this crisis and we have a problem of traveling. So we can travel or we cannot travel. That depends of where you live. So we in Europe, especially we in Germany, we are a little bit on the sunny side. But we have, I'm actually in Italy. That was a totally different story. Or Spain is, they have the second wave. So nobody will know what will be happen. But as far as is especially possible, I'm pretty sure the family will come together, as always, if it was in their tradition. So we have different traditions, or we have the grandparents living far away, so they had a phone call, and this phone call in the future will be maybe a FaceTime or a virtual meeting, because they used to use this for the last half year roughly. So I think that will be more common, and maybe will have an impact even in the decorating side. So in America, you start the 1st of December to decorate in your home, and especially a tree. Was lucky for us as a producer of Christmas tree trim. In Germany, we have the tradition, Julia knows, we start on Christmas Eve. So that's a very short time. And in a very normal year, most of the consumers say it's not really worth to decorate for 3 or 4 days. I go skiing or go everywhere. So that will be maybe change. And I think even the possibility to show, which is not in our German tradition, to show to others, to show to my friends, to my family, how I can decorate my home, and this cocooning, all these things will have a big impact. So I'm pretty sure that will be giving a push to our business.
Yeah, no, I mean, definitely. And it's interesting because you hit the nail on the head. I feel like so many different people are now virtually online, like your, older parents or your grandparents, et cetera, really. They figured out this Zoom thing. So I think it'll be very interesting seeing how it will transpire into decor as we go forward. But also, like you were mentioning, there's a lot of cultural differences, right, all over the world. And Pascal, I want to send this question to you from a brand perspective. How are you seeing different cultures adapt and change to these new traditions?
This we need to find out, of course, in the next 4 or 5 months. I think the new culture means that we are going to love all the simple things. All the basic things are now much more in and pure, and that over the top and well-being, what we did in the last years. This will be going back much more to the basic things, and I believe that being together, doing simple things, and making things by yourself, it's a trend that will come up and will not go in the next few years. This trend was coming already in every trend forecasting, but I think during the Corona crisis, it's now directly a normal thing. To do something together, make your own cake. For example, we are starting now a program that will start in October to recycle your Christmas items and paint them by your hand in a new color and add some new balls to it. So you see it as a family traditional to make your own Christmas items. Together with extra decoration items, and you see that you get a fusion of Christmas balls then, and you make your own Christmas trees. And for example, what we also see is if you're talking about products, like clay, I don't know, is it the right word? English, clay? Clay? Julia, what is it? Clay, where you make the pot?
Oh yes,
yeah,
clay.
It is clay.
Clay, yeah? Yeah, okay. So you see that people are going to start to clay their own products, and who could imagine that these trends are now, we are talking about a few big retailers who bought already for 300,000 kilos of clay, a product what we didn't use. Yeah, on Creativeworld we have it, but nobody was looking to it. And now they want to clay their Christmas ornaments and their, for example, this will be also a trend for showing together that you make something pure and your own. And those trends, for me, actually, to be very honest, it looks like we are going 40 years back in time, but it has a new touch. And all these people of 22, 26 years old see it as brand new.
Yeah.
And actually, it's, how to say, traditional.
Yeah.
But
No,
you make your own. And in the combinations, you see a lot of opportunities.
That's funny. I mean, you're totally right. It's because we've all had to slow down. We've definitely were able to pick up on all of the things that we've been wanting to do for so long, right? Like I've always wanted to do pottery, but I was always traveling 80% of my life. So it's a great time to be able to, stop and learn new tasks. That's a perfect segue actually into our next pillar, which is all about self-sustainability. it's basically that exact concept. It's because, you know, we, like you said, in the last 40 years, have become this society that's just consuming at a rapid rate. Now, America obviously was really off the charts compared to most, but you know, we got lost, and we lost this ability to like fend for ourselves. Like if you break it down to, you know, a real basic level, we really couldn't take care of like our basic needs of growing food and cooking. So if COVID has taught us anything, it's to value essential necessities. From growing our own food to rededicating to hobbies, this pandemic has stemmed a movement of do-it-yourself. What started as a way to relieve the need for essential goods, like we were missing things like hand sanitizers or, you know, paper towels, toilet paper, it quickly turned into an awareness and development of personal projects that stemmed into cooking, crafting, and exploring local hobbying interests. So with this, it is shifting the way people consume to be more focused on personalization and customization. We're refocused more on thoughtful gifting and sharing our newfound fondness of self-sustainability through hobbies and creative interests.
So again, a perfect segue. We're really looking here first and foremost at this DIY mindset. So DIY projects are currently some of the most searched for at the moment, and concurrently DIY brands are experiencing surges in sales like we haven't seen before. And this is all because consumers are really looking to have that meaningful experience of creating their own decorations that provide them with a sense of comfort, but also it passes the time. So brands can offer DIY alternatives to traditional products that really captivate those who have that excess time at home and who want to take the opportunity to learn something new. We're obviously also looking at the repurposed solution aspect of self-sustainability. So with so much time at home and a growing awareness and concern for the environment, consumers are really taking a much more thoughtful approach and finding solutions for otherwise disposable items. So here we're looking at packaging, gift wrap, and disposable party supplies, and how they are taking a much more sustainable approach going forward as well. And brands should really take this opportunity to reduce the plastic that goes into the packaging, to really rethink wrapping altogether to make it more sustainable overall, but to still incorporate that aspect of personalization, and then include DIYs or how-tos on the packaging itself that can inform consumers on how to reuse or properly recycle the packaging or the single-use disposables. And then the last really interesting one that we're looking at here is hobby gifting. So activities like gardening, baking, and crafting have all become much more popular in recent months, and many consumers are slowing down and taking up these new hobbies. So this will really shift the gift-giving experience to be a much more personal one going forward as consumers start to present items that they've grown or made themselves as gifts. And then on the flip side, you'll see that more niche tools, baking tools, gardening tools, product upgrades that are a little more, sleek, and as well as kits that really foster this creativity. And those will be a lot more enticing to people who have these newfound hobby interests.
So opening it up to some questions, Mart, I'd love to talk to you a little bit. Hi. So with people spending more time at home, hobbies and DIY crafts have become really popular. Are there new ways you're integrating this into your business going forward?
I think we have done it already for many years, because I have a feeling that we all have it in our veins, that we are taught already in the kindergarten how to cut out paper snowflakes, how to make paper garlands. It's something that is actually very connected to Christmas anyhow. And all the products what we have offered, or Shishi has offered, like lately, that people can easily personalize, do it yourself balls. You can fill the balls with something inside, or and the balls you can write on with a chalk, or they have been really, really popular. So this trend has been there already before as well, because people want to do something for the Christmas. But of course, now with the more excess time at home, this is even more popular.
Awesome. Pascal, I have a question for you. So with continuing from what the conversation you were having earlier with us, with consumers refocusing on self-sufficiency and sustainability, what are some of the best practices you're seeing from a brand perspective?
Yeah, on the moment, I don't see so many new things on the moment coming in. The only thing is that you see that the business is changing very quickly, and that all the things who are pure and nature, you see that the trade is asking for that. That plastic fantastic, or they want to have the pure thing. So if they want to have something, they want to have something very nice, and don't buy it and throw it away 3 days after Christmas. And maybe at most sensibility, what you see is that you still can see here in my village that the Christmas lights are still hanging outside. And that's actually, so nobody's throwing it away, everybody's doing it. And if you're looking to my neighbors here, they hang every year much more Christmas outdoor. And I think this year we will have, for the first time, the American way, that we will have the Christmas also outdoor instead of going indoor with each other. So this fusion way, what is for Europe new, you see everywhere. And yeah, I see the pre-orders now for the Christmas, real Christmas trees. It's 30% higher than the last year. And then the sales still needs to start. So you see things changing, you see coming up dried flowers, you see what retail is ordering, and that is minimalistic, that is very nice, that is pure, but yeah, it will be a new Christmas. And actually, what Julia already said, it will be Christmas, but it will be on another way, and it will be much more creative, and it will be much more together. And I'm looking forward to see what will happen. And actually, that was, yeah, we had, of course, the Corona crisis 3 days after the Christmasworld. But if you're talking now with journalists, who I always think they are a little bit more ahead, they take up much more the trends. And then you see everybody is writing about the pure thing, the basic things, the family thing. Nobody is talking about going for 2 weeks to the Maldives or going skiing in Switzerland. This discussion is completely gone. That everybody wants to put a Christmas tree in their house and they want to pay 400 or 500 euros for it. It seems to be this year the trend. And to do not only the Christmas tree, we see it everywhere in the house.
That's really interesting. I definitely 100% agree with you. I feel like people are really going to be focused on bringing in the real trees, bringing in the real flowers, things that they allow them to connect with, you know, nature and being able to really feel, versus focused on like their vacations or, you know, that type of thing. So our next trend that we have is called less but better, and it, you know, we segued kind of into this as well, but, you know, being stuck at home has really made us reevaluate everything, and sheltering in place has changed our mindsets for consumer needs. I mean, how many Instagrams did you guys see of someone cleaning out their clutter, right? I mean, if I saw another closet redo, I was gonna hide my Instagram for myself for a while. But like, being stuck at home has really made us realize what we truly need versus what we want. And I think that is a huge underlier of this whole pandemic. It's really stripped us down to our core values with what is expected, to reprioritize as what is essential and needed in our everyday lives, with consumers consuming less frivolously and focusing on quality and sustainability versus quantity. And that's going to be a big push, especially for American demographics that overconsume a lot. Now we by no means think consumers will strip down their decorating at all. I think it's going to get bigger, but they're going to opt for more quality choices for decorating, focusing on things that really, truly bring joy to them. So it doesn't mean that the holidays are going to be minimalistic by any means. It's just meaning that they're going to have more purpose behind the products, and they're going to have more lasting quality. So Marta, I'd love to talk, oh, sorry, go ahead to the next slide.
Yeah, so just to piggyback off of that, I mean, Jay hit the nail on the head there, but the way that we're going to see this manifest from a product perspective through the consumer landscape is with the idea of first and foremost scaling down. So just like Jay mentioned, the shelter in place really created this rise in shedding of excess, especially within our homes. And consumers will be taking that chance to refocus on basically consuming less overall post-pandemic, but really gearing that into just more thoughtful purchases and really leaning into the idea of embracing togetherness and community versus just buying for the sake of buying. They'll really be putting thought into their purchases going forward. So how brands can adhere to this is focus on tightening their assortments overall and bringing in more designs that have a more universal attraction to them. And then what goes along with that is ethical purchasing. So as a society, we have been in this harsh cycle, just as Jay said, of overconsumption, which has these detrimental effects on our economic surroundings, our environmental surroundings. And with sustainability being top of mind, again, consumers are looking at these very purposeful, thoughtful purchases. So here brands can really focus on providing that transparency within their marketing endeavors, and also just as important, but providing that thoughtfulness in their sourcing. So the two go hand in hand. You really can't have one with integrity without the other. We're actually seeing that 41% of, actually more than 41% of UK shoppers in the last year have switched to say that they will now choose what they buy based off of the brand's sustainability credentials, which is pretty huge. We're also looking at the idea of heirlooms. So we've spoken on this a little bit, but heirlooms are really a sustainable way to repurpose past products, but also bring that sense of family into the home when you might not be able to be with them in person this year. So embracing this element of nostalgia, which is a huge buzzword for us right now. It's a trend that's growing, but what really it's a representation of this larger movement, which at its core is all about celebrating togetherness and really honoring our past experiences. And that in itself is really meaningful. So brands can adhere to this by producing products that have this kind of old world feel to them, or even creating collections that kind of complement their past collections so that consumers can thoughtfully add to their existing decorations without being overstimulated or feeling like they have to indulge in needless abundance.
So getting into a couple of questions for Less But Better, and just to note to the people on the call, I see a lot of your questions, so we'll address those as well. But Marta, I'd love to start with you. Holiday decor trends tend to be manufactured at lower price points. Do you see this shifting as consumers refocus on quality versus quantity? You're muted.
Sorry. Yes,
No
of course. Yes, of course I can see that customers are choosing more like materials like glass, porcelain, materials from the nature like cones, branches, and starting to little bit avoid plastic, especially if it is only one-time use. And even more they're reacting to the packaging, because usually, especially from the lower point factories, there is excessive packaging. It's like plastic bag after plastic bag after plastic bag, and this now in Europe, when there is so much talk about, first of all, the ban of one-time use plates and cutlery. It's so much on the news, and if the items are so much overpacked, this is, I think, one of the worst problems.
No, I totally agree with you. I think even looking at like how we're going to rethink packaging and also, you know, party supplies and things to be more sustainable and less one-time use. And then also, you know, the same for ornaments. I'm someone who has moved around a lot and therefore not always been able to take all of my Christmas decorations. So I find myself constantly refilling it every year because I still want to decorate for my house. And, you know, you just go on Amazon and order whatever's there because you're just like, oh, I want it to be pretty, or I want a new theme. And I think that I know for sure I will definitely be rethinking that, and with a more sustainable approach of like how that can be going forward. But talking a little bit about like the tablescape and table decorating, I mean, I know for a lot of consumers that is really, you know, important each year. Is, you know, food and festivity is really key. Helmut, how do you expect the tablescape and table decorating assortments to change going forward?
Okay, as a manufacturer of tree trim, I'm maybe not the first address to answer it.
Well, anybody can jump into.
But nevertheless, where our thoughts are going in the same direction. So I think what you are telling, so I have some notices, but mostly is already mentioned. So in order to not repeat everything, but I think COVID-19 has accelerated a lot of trends we had seen already some years before. So some years ago with a factory, we did a 40 million glass bowls made by machine. And most of them didn't survive the next Christmas. So we concentrated really early to our mouse blown and hand decorated things, which are really traditions like a Patek Philippe. That's a very good advertisement. That's our story, exactly the same. So we have high class customers. So our consumer, I think, they buy a new item and add to their treasure they already had at home. And so what we see, maybe this trend, which is less but better, even in the decoration. I think we have very nice customers in US. They like the shiny things. We have glass bowls like Missoni we sell for years. And but we have Scandinavians. They're totally different. There's an unsilvered and a very fragile. I think maybe this trend will cover America or other countries as well. So because support more this trend, what we had already 2 years ago, glass bowls with reduced decoration, but still different, not simple like made in China. So simple but intelligent, and give the product a worth. So we're not using, of course, these natural materials because in our jeans are glass. But we think we will go more to the table because, as I told you, in Germany especially, mostly even they buy the glass bowl in December because they don't need it in advance. In US, luckily they start 1st of December. So, but in Germany, we can see the trend to bring the glass bowl in plates, the room, on a table, on some different places, and we will add something we have in mind, and that's for the next Christmasworld. So I think we got a question from all the buyers sitting at home in the home office, and everybody is keen to make new things. So they challenge us as well. We cannot come to the Christmasworld and have the same booth like years. So we have to find answers for these questions, and away from the plastic one-way decoration, this shit we container-wise brought into the homes. I think there will be, I'm very lucky for that, not because of us, because of the environment and all these things. We cannot discuss about banning plastic and buying plastic Christmas decoration. Sorry, Mart, you're sitting in front of a lot of this. But I think that will have an impact. Less than better, more the quality. I struggle a bit with less. We have some that are really looking forward, but we have some they're always blaming the web shops for taking over their business. And I think it's not only the convenience of the consumer, it's the convenience of the buyer. he doesn't want to change because it's very convenient to make every year the same. And we have some web shops that take over the ideas. They have a very good presentation. They show the consumer Christmas in a day. And I think that will be more and more important, that we disrupt even the retail. If I go in some shops, they are more the same thing over 10 years, same. They are not willing to change anything. So they're only blaming the others taking over the business, but it's not having ideas to do new things. And I'm sometimes afraid in the desert, but nobody's hearing. So change, disrupt, think your business in a new way, and then come back. And that's why we need a Christmasworld fair. And we, as having the booths there, we have to show new things. As Pascal told before, I can go to Canton Fair, I can go to Christmasworld. Mostly it's the same for the last 5 years.
Right.
Yeah, but looking to that and looking at what you see on the table decoration there, and that's already also for years the same. People need to have extra inspiration, and luckily wise, a lot of consumers have social media, Pinterest, Facebook, where they see the ideas. And what you see now in the moment, and we need to see, there was a complete plan to do this for Christmas this year, is to make the cloud on top of the table. The cloud with the Christmas tree hanging on top of the table, or the together with the balls. Or to decorate the lamp on top of your table. That's an extra opportunity to bring an extra Christmas touch to the house, but cost more time and what needs to give you inspiration. And I think we all need to do that, to give our consumers inspiration to do something new and to do something else, to think out of the box. And that's something that I always also get every time back from the Christmasworld, especially from the journalists, when they are coming every year and to see the new trends and the ideas, but also how you work with the product. To be honestly, I'm now 23 years on the Christmasworld and doing already the last 10 years all the big shows. But I can tell you what was the best product 23 years ago, and I can tell you what is the best product last year and the Christmas before. And that is a red Christmas ball. Nothing new. It's the way how you are working with it. And as long as we can give all together the inspiration of using our Christmas balls, and if it is the high-end balls, or it's more simpler balls, or it is your own make balls, as long as we are bringing to the consumer, and that's going very, very quick the last 12 weeks, like they're seeing, like decorating, like they are working in the kitchen. That it is easy to do. Just do it. And what everybody's doing every evening, and on the moment Rudy is doing that in our kitchen here, it smells very nice here. But if you are cooking, and everybody who can cook, and I cannot cook, I can only eat, it's a question about salt and pepper. And that's with Christmas. A little bit more salt and pepper than normal. But this is bringing the high taste, and Mart is showing that it's you can do something, you can do it pure, you can do it simple, but start with the good ingredients and add something to it. Make it your own. But for all of us, it's very important that the consumer still have the family feeling, have a good feeling with our products. They have a very good feeling with Christmas, and that has to do with religion or just being together or in the end of the year. But we need to give them ideas and to help them and looking on new ways where they can make something unique. And when this is something where you get a compliment from a friend, and what you just mentioned, everybody's putting that on Facebook. But if you're looking now on Pinterest, every photo you see, there is a cloud of these fluffy dried things on top of the trendy tables. Those things, we can add Christmas lights in it, or we can add some Christmas balls in it. But we need to show the consumer that it is easy to do. And what you can do in huge, you can also do in small. But make your own things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I totally, definitely.
And don't take the table what you did the last 15 years. And
yeah.
It's create something new.
Yeah, I love that. I love that sentiment of creating new and, you know, really finding things that give you true joy, you know, as opposed to just having a lot of excess of something. I want to switch over to some of the questions that we're getting from our attendees. Hi. And if you guys want, you can click into the gallery view at the very top right. That will help you see everyone a little bit clearer, if that makes it easier. So one of the first questions that we got is, now with all the orders placed early in the year, they're now on freeze. What and how to replace these orders? What can you suggest to replace these orders this Christmas? Are you seeing that as well? And what are some practical ideas to roll out right now for this coming Christmas? Anybody want to take that one?
I think it matches very, very good to Helmut or to Mart.
Sure.
Yeah, I can only answer. We work an extra hour every day. We have a lot to do. We have been lucky that the Christmasworld had taken place before.
Yeah.
Of course, we had some cuttings of orders because I think our customer didn't expect it will be not a good Christmas. They need the money for everything, so there is a problem. So the bank don't giving them too much money. So that's what was the first problem. So we have French customer, they closed 1 month, then they closed another month. So they cut 20%, and it's okay. We are working like dogs because we have so many to do, and we produce even more as we had in order, because we are pretty sure they will order very close to Christmas, because they will have the experience that what we have been discussing before. The consumer will need these goods, and of course they need the money for fragrance and for all these things. But I think Christmas will be important this year, and Christmas is still the most important time in the year for the family, and especially in such a year. So I'm pretty sure we will have a perfect selling in the shops, and we prepared for that.
Yes, I think the same. We can see the same trends here in the Europe, where shops have been open now. Like the sales are picking up. We have the flower shops in Norway. Actually, we are doing even better sales than the last year, because people are really spending the money on their home. On that, they say we cannot travel anywhere. We just remake our terrace, and we see the same trend actually also coming for the Christmas.
Do you guys see the famous Christmas markets happening this year by chance?
That will be definitely a problem. So if I look to Germany, where we had, of course, customer, they don't only have the Christmas market, they already didn't have Easter market, or they think about Oktoberfest, which is a money-making machine, will not take place this year. So they really have problems. When I think to the Nuremberg Christmas market, which is one of the biggest one, nobody knows in which way he can take place. Strasbourg maybe the same. So they, of course, they will be very afraid about the future. For the retailers, they will do their business. So if they survive, of course. We have some in Chapter 11s, but I think that was only to throw away some debts. So they all will come true. In the US, you have 2, and we are very lucky they will start more strong after that as before. But for the smaller, I'm really afraid.
Regarding the Christmas markets, there was a question about governments or city decoration in the chat. So the Christmas markets in Europe, I'm pretty afraid they will not happen. But on the other hand, I think especially that the cities will invest in the city decoration to feel their inhabitants like Christmas. And so we think they not decorate for more sales for the Christmas markets, but they decorate for their inhabitants to feel like, feel good, feel patient, feel like Christmas.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like the whole community and bringing the community together aspect, it's going to be enormous for cities and towns to really figure out something that makes people still feel happy as we go into the winter months. So I'm just going to ask one more question just for time's sake. We have about, we've been on for an hour, so thank you guys so much for hanging in there. But how do the panelists foresee the success of sales or changes in consumer behavior of imported holiday products with this pandemic? I know that's the import-export's a big conversation. Do you see it becoming more domestic in any means?
Yeah, I see it more domestic. You see now quite a lot of orders are going to Poland and to Portugal from Europe. It has to do also with a lot of buyers cannot travel. And so they were looking very nearby for other opportunities. And of course, 50% of our turnover is coming out of nature materials. Those products are always 300 or 600 kilometers from the sales location. Those orders are tremendous. And actually, what is very strange, we had last year an opportunity to take your own Christmas tree out of the ground. And it was five euros expensive to take them by yourself out of the ground than you buy one in the pot. And you can already imagine which one was sold the biggest and the most. You're selling people a story. And actually, it's pure and it is new, and so I'm wondering if all the orders who are placed in China will be delivered. The orders needs to ship in the next 3 or 4 weeks, so the production is already there. What Helmut already said, big retailers bought quite a lot at the traditional importers, not via their producers, and that's a money question. But you also can see that they look on another way to their to what they have already in stock from last year.
That's true too.
And they start to be. I already saw at a few locations in Holland and also in Germany what they are doing with the old colors, and they mix them. Or we help them to mix them. And everybody thought that it was a complete new thing. And actually, we just turned the old product into something new. But what is new on a red Christmas ball or a gold Christmas ball? It's just what I already said, pepper and salt. And you can find in Europe also very nice products. And actually, to let the consumer do their own thing, to be very, very honest, it's you get a higher price. It's the same as growing your own plants or your own vegetables. It's much more expensive than buy it in the supermarket. And everybody will say, "Oh, these are nice," and actually they are not so nice. But okay, it's the pure thing, the pure thing, and that needs to be. Also in October, the big buyers cannot go to the Canton Fair. I think, and this is what I never, ever, ever expected for my personal 2 design business model. I never expected that after the Christmasworld, we had directly 4 days later, we had the Ambiente. And on the moment we start up building the Ambiente, that we have problems in our business model with the next 14 or 3 weeks. And actually we had problems in the next 48 hours. And then the whole thing collapsed. We need to do big things in Hong Kong, big things. I've been 4 days in India and I flew directly back, but there was no no problem. And that was actually for me the biggest problem. They didn't want to talk about it. And if I didn't go away, then I was still sitting there in that hotel 12 weeks later. So you see that the next thing is actually, to be very honest, in the fairs in Europe, will be Christmasworld in our product line. If you're talking about blockbusters, this will be our new blockbusters. And the retailers are buying like a maniac. And I speak with the designers. They also want to do more visual merchandising to show the customer what they can do with a product. So actually it brings in quite a lot of creativity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I totally agree with that sentiment. 1000%. Well, thank you guys for joining us today. It's been a fabulous talking to every single one of you. I'm going to pass it back to Sarah, who will close this out, but really appreciate everybody being involved and love to continue these conversations. I could talk about this all day.
Yeah, thank you all. I know that there were some questions that we weren't able to get to during the presentation, but we will do our best to follow up with you and answer them offline. Julia, I know a lot of people were also asking if the recorded version of the webinar will be available. I know that we will be posting it on our website, fashionsnoops.com/events, if you want to share where people can find it via Christmasworld.
Yeah, so we will publish it afterwards on christmasworld.messefrankfurt.com and on our Consume Solutions website, consume.solutions, where everyone can find that. And we will also follow up with the questions we could not raise here. So
great. Thank you all. Thank you again to all of our panelists. Before everyone goes, I do want to just make note of a new offering that we have at Fashion Snoops. You know, as Julia mentioned earlier, this pandemic, while it did have innumerable negative effects on many aspects of life, it did open up some new opportunities. And for us, that turned into the FS Thrive program. This is a 4-week creative strategy program. So this is perfect for anyone who is trying to develop their next seasonal assortment for fall winter 21-22. So we really go into the cultural sentiments, the cultural trends that are happening, what you need to take account of in terms of consumer behavior, cultural shifts, and then we go all the way into the specifics for each market, including home. Jay does an amazing presentation for each of our cultural sentiments, how these cultural issues and what consumers are feeling are impacting design. And then we also include mindfulness practices. We noticed that, you know, this is a time where people are really slowing down, tuning back into themselves, their intuition. So these practices really help you do that and help you approach creativity from a fresh mind. So this is a great program for anyone who is looking for some inspiration, for some insight. We hope that you will check it out. It's available to view at fashionsnoops.com/thrive program. If you have any questions about enrollment, you can always contact us. And again, we thank you to all of our panelists and to everyone at Christmasworld Messe Frankfurt for putting this webinar together. It was so great talking about the holidays, a nice little bright spot in this whole current reality that we're experiencing. Again, please contact us with any questions, and we look forward to seeing you at a future webinar. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.